Have you ever noticed how much of life can become a waiting room when you are hoping to be chosen? You wait for someone to invite you, approve of you, notice you, hire you, love you, include you, recommend you, or finally say, yes, you are the one. And without realizing it, you can begin using other people's decisions as evidence of your own worth. If they choose you, you feel valuable. If they do not, you wonder what is wrong with you. Well, that is a very exhausting way to live because you have placed the authority over your value outside yourself. So perhaps today we change the question. Instead of asking, who is going to choose me? Ask, what do I choose for myself? That question brings you home. It reminds you that you are not only someone waiting to be selected, you are also someone who can select, decide, participate, and create. I no longer wait to be chosen. I choose myself. Let that sentence feel simple. You do not have to become louder or more forceful. You simply stop standing outside your own life, waiting for somebody else to call your name. Perhaps you have done this in relationships. You wait for someone to decide whether you are worthy of commitment. You spend so much time wondering, do they want me? That you forget to ask, do I want this? Does this relationship feel kind? Do I feel respected here? Can I be myself? You see, when you are only focused on being chosen, you can forget that you are choosing too. The same thing can happen with work. You want the company to choose you, but perhaps you never ask whether the work fits your values, your energy, your life. Or perhaps you wait for someone to tell you that your idea is good enough before you begin. You wait for permission. You wait for applause. You wait for proof. And while you are waiting, your own voice becomes very quiet. So today begin listening again. What do I choose for myself? Maybe you choose a healthier relationship. Maybe you choose more creative work. Maybe you choose rest. Maybe you choose to learn. Maybe you choose to leave something that has become too small. Your life begins changing when you stop treating yourself as the last person whose opinion matters. Choosing yourself does not mean becoming selfish. I think people often misunderstand this. They think, if I put myself first in any way, I will become uncaring. No, choosing yourself means standing on your own side. It means listening to what genuinely supports you, so that when you give to others, you are not always giving from exhaustion. Choosing myself allows me to love from fullness, not depletion. There is a difference between love and self-erasure. Love can be generous without asking you to disappear. Love can say yes, and love can also say no. Love can care for another person and still care for you. Imagine that every day you have a little bowl of energy. If you give every bit away before noon and then tell yourself, a good person never needs anything. Eventually, you become tired, resentful, or empty. Then giving no longer feels joyful. So perhaps choosing yourself means asking, what fills my bowl too? A quiet breakfast, a walk, enough sleep, time for something you love, a conversation where you do not have to perform, a project that belongs to you. These things are not selfish. They help you remain connected to yourself. And sometimes choosing yourself means listening to preferences you have ignored for years. Perhaps you always say anything is fine because you want everyone else to be comfortable. Fine. But what do you actually prefer? Where do you want to go? What do you want to eat? How do you want to spend the weekend? What kind of work gives you energy? What kind of people help you feel more alive? Start small. Choosing yourself can begin with choosing the restaurant. You do not need to reinvent your life by dinner. You see, self-choice is not always dramatic. It can sound like, I would rather stay home tonight. I would like to try this. I need more time. That does not work for me. This matters to me. Every time you say something true without immediately abandoning it for approval, you strengthen the relationship with yourself. You begin becoming someone who does not leave yourself behind in every room. And perhaps the most important person who needs to choose you is the person you meet in your own mind every morning. This is where self-talk becomes so important. If your inner voice is always saying, you are too slow, you are behind, you should have done better, nobody will want what you have to offer. Then, even when the outside world gives you opportunities, you may not feel supported inside. So become more conscious of the voice you live with. You do not need to flatter yourself. You do not need to say things you do not believe. Simply speak in a way that helps you grow. I am learning. That is very different from, I am terrible at this. I can try again. That is very different from, I always fail. I believe in my ability to grow. Perhaps you do not yet believe in every ability you have. Fine. Believe in your ability to learn. That is enough to begin. Imagine speaking to a child who is learning to ride a bicycle. They wobble, put a foot down, and perhaps fall once. You would not say, well, obviously you will never learn. You would say, that's all right. Try again. You're getting it. Why not offer yourself the same kind of encouragement? I speak to myself with encouragement and respect, not because you need to become dependent on praise, but because your own mind should not be the place where you are constantly insulted. Perhaps you have been waiting for someone else to believe in you first. When they support me, then I'll feel confident. When somebody tells me I'm talented, then I'll begin. When someone gives me the opportunity, then I'll know I'm ready. But sometimes you have to begin before the applause. You have to say, I don't know exactly how this will go, but I am willing to learn. Then you take one step. That step becomes evidence. Then another. And little by little, your belief becomes less dependent on somebody else's reaction. There will still be people who do not choose you. That is part of life. Not every job will hire you. Not every person will understand you. Not every invitation will come. But a no from someone else does not have to become a no to yourself. This is important. Perhaps you receive a rejection and say, I am disappointed, but I still choose my direction. Perhaps someone does not appreciate what you offer. Fine, you can still value it enough to keep developing it. Another person's decision does not have to become your identity. And when someone does choose you, let it be lovely. Receive it. Enjoy it. You do not have to become so independent that nothing matters. It feels good to be loved, appreciated, hired, invited, included, wonderful. But let it be an addition to your self-worth, not the source of it. You can say, I am happy they chose me, and I was already choosing myself. This creates a very different energy in relationships too. You no longer enter saying, please choose me. You enter saying, let's see whether we choose each other. That is much more balanced. In work, let's see whether this opportunity and I are a good fit. In friendship, let's see whether there is mutual care. You become an active participant rather than an applicant for your own worth. So perhaps today your practice is very simple. Notice one place where you are waiting to be chosen. Then ask, what do I choose for myself here? Maybe the answer is to apply somewhere else. Maybe it is to begin the project before anyone approves. Maybe it is to stop waiting for a person who keeps you uncertain. Maybe it is to choose your own company for the evening and enjoy it. Maybe it is simply to speak more kindly to yourself. And when the old voice says, but what if nobody chooses me? Answer gently, I am here. I choose me. Not as a rejection of the world, but as a foundation. From that foundation, you can love more freely because you are no longer asking every person to prove that you deserve to exist. I no longer wait to be chosen. I choose myself. Choosing myself allows me to love from fullness, not depletion. I speak to myself with encouragement and respect. Let these thoughts begin to change the way you stand inside your own life. You do not need the entire world to believe in you before you take your next step. You do not need universal approval before you honor what feels true. You do not need to wait outside the door forever. Perhaps today, you simply turn the handle yourself. Next, I want you to look very gently at some of the old ideas that may have taught you to wait for other people to choose you. Perhaps somewhere along the way, you began to believe, I need a relationship to be complete, or I need people to approve of me before I can feel good about myself, or I have to please everyone if I want to be loved? Well, these are only ideas. They may be old ideas. They may be very familiar ideas, but they are still ideas, and thoughts can be changed. You do not have to spend years analyzing where every belief came from. You can simply notice it and say, "Oh, I see. I have been thinking this way for a long time. Fine. I am willing to choose a new thought now. That is enough." So ask yourself, is this truly what I want, or something I learned to believe I need? Perhaps you have believed that you must have a relationship in order to feel whole. Well, love is wonderful. Relationships can be wonderful. Sharing your life with someone can be beautiful, but you do not become a whole person only when someone arrives. You are already here. You already have a heart, interests, dreams, ideas, laughter, wisdom, creativity, and so much within you that belongs to you. So instead of saying, "I need someone to complete me," begin saying, "I am already a whole person, and I choose relationships that add to my life." Notice how much softer that feels. You are not rejecting love. You are simply taking the burden off love. Another person does not have to carry the responsibility of proving that you are enough. Perhaps you have also been waiting for recognition. You do something and immediately wonder, did they notice? Did they like it? Do they think I did well? We all enjoy appreciation. Of course we do. It is lovely when someone says, "You did a wonderful job." But your value does not have to disappear when nobody says anything. Perhaps today you begin giving yourself a little of the recognition you have been waiting for. You finish something and say, "Good, I did that." You try something new and say, "I am proud of myself for trying." You make progress and allow yourself to notice it. That is not arrogance. That is kindness. You can say, "I recognize the good in myself," or "I appreciate the person I am becoming." You do not have to wait for a room full of people to applaud before you are allowed to feel pleased with yourself. Sometimes it is enough to sit quietly at the end of the day and say, "I did my best today," and that is good. And perhaps another old thought says, "I must make everyone happy if I want to be loved." Well, that can be very tiring. You say yes when you mean no. You agree when you do not really agree. You choose what everybody else wants and forget to ask yourself anything. So let us change that thought too. You can be loving without disappearing. You can be kind without saying yes to everything. You can care about other people and still have preferences of your own. Say, "I am lovable even when I have my own preferences." Say, "I am allowed to say what feels right for me." You do not have to become difficult or hard. You simply become more honest. Perhaps someone asks, "Where would you like to eat?" And instead of saying, "Anywhere is fine," you say, I would really enjoy this place. That is a tiny thing, but it tells your mind, my preference matters too. You see, choosing yourself does not have to begin with a huge life decision. It can begin with breakfast. What would you like to eat? What music would you like to hear? What color would you like to wear today? Would you like quiet or conversation? Would you like to go out or stay home? These little choices help you become reacquainted with yourself. And this brings us to something very simple and very beautiful. Discovering who you are when you are not trying to please everybody. You do not need a psychological label for this. Just become curious. What do I like? That is a wonderful question. What kind of books do you enjoy? What kind of music makes you feel good? What would you like to learn simply because it interests you? Do you like mornings or evenings? Do you enjoy being around many people? Or do you need quiet time too? Do you like bright colors, soft colors, old furniture, modern rooms, long walks, cooking, painting, gardening, dancing, writing, traveling? There is no correct answer. Perhaps for years you have been choosing things because they seemed sensible or because other people liked them. Fine. You do not need to criticize yourself for that. You can begin now. It is safe for me to discover what I like. I love this thought because it makes self-discovery playful instead of serious. Maybe you used to love drawing and stopped because you thought it was not useful enough. Why not pick up a pencil again? Maybe you have always wanted to learn Italian. Why not learn 10 words? Maybe you want to take a pottery class. Maybe you want to grow herbs on the windowsill. Maybe you want to rearrange one little corner of your home so that it feels more like you. Not everything you love has to become a career. Not everything has to make money. Not everything has to impress anybody. Some things are simply here to give you pleasure. My life is allowed to look like me. Let that sentence become very ordinary. Perhaps your home can look a little more like you. Your weekends can look a little more like you. Your clothes can look a little more like you. Your schedule can look a little more like you. Your friendships can have room for the real you. You do not have to copy another person's life because it looks beautiful from the outside. Their life belongs to them. Yours belongs to you. Perhaps you see someone online who wakes up at 5 in the morning, exercises for an hour, writes in a journal, makes a green drink, and has already completed half the day before breakfast. Fine. If that suits them, wonderful. But perhaps your body loves a slower morning. Perhaps you are more creative at night. Perhaps you need a quiet cup of tea before speaking to anyone. Your life does not have to look like someone else's routine in order to be a good life. Ask, what works for me? That is choosing yourself. Maybe you love a busy social life? Wonderful. Maybe you need more time alone? Wonderful. Maybe you want a large family? Maybe you do not. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to create a beautiful home and stay close to it. you are allowed to listen. And the more you learn about yourself, the less frightening it becomes when someone else has a different opinion. They can say, "Oh, I would never do that." And you can simply think, "That's all right. You don't have to." You see how peaceful that is? You do not have to convince everybody. My life is allowed to look like me. Say it again gently. My life is allowed to look like me. And then let us bring this into everyday choices. Because choosing yourself is not something you say once in front of the mirror and then forget. It becomes real in very small moments. Suppose you are tired. Choosing yourself may mean resting before you are completely exhausted. You might say, "I am going to sit quietly for 20 minutes. That is enough." You do not need to earn rest by becoming completely depleted. Suppose someone asks you to do something and you really do not have the energy. Perhaps choosing yourself means saying, "I'm sorry, I can't do that today." No long explanation, no guilt speech, just a simple answer. Suppose you have been putting off something that matters deeply to you because everybody else's needs always come first. Choosing yourself may mean putting 30 minutes on the calendar for your own project. You sit down and do it. Perhaps you write one page. Perhaps you paint. Perhaps you study. Perhaps you make the phone call. That little block of time says, "This matters to me, and I matter too. My choices show me that I matter." I think this is such an important affirmation because the mind learns from what you do. If you say, "I matter," but you never give yourself time, never listen to your needs, never allow your preferences, then the new thought can feel very far away. But when you begin making small, loving choices, you give the mind evidence. You choose the food you actually enjoy sometimes, and that says, "My choices show me that I matter." You go to bed when you are tired, and that says, "My choices show me that I matter." You spend time doing something that makes you happy, and that says, "My choices show me that I matter." You say, "I would prefer this." And again you are showing yourself, "I matter too." These little things add up, and perhaps you notice guilt when you begin doing this. Fine. Do not make guilt into a big problem. It may simply be an old habit. You can say, "I am learning a new way." Then continue gently. Maybe you take an afternoon for yourself and part of your mind says you should be doing something useful. Well, perhaps enjoying your life is useful. Perhaps resting is useful. Perhaps reconnecting with yourself is useful. You can say, "It is safe for me to enjoy my own life." Perhaps you buy yourself flowers, not because you are lonely, not because nobody else did, simply because you like flowers. Put them in a vase. Enjoy them. Let that be enough. Perhaps you take yourself to lunch. Perhaps you go to a bookstore. Perhaps you spend an hour by the sea. Perhaps you make yourself a beautiful cup of tea and sit near the window. These small acts can be very healing because they say, I do not have to wait for someone else to create a loving moment for me. You can create some loving moments yourself. And when love does come from other people, you can receive it too. This is not about becoming independent to the point where you push everyone away. No, we are not saying, I do not need anyone. We are saying, I do not need someone else to prove my worth. There is a big difference. You can love and be loved. You can receive help. You can enjoy companionship. You can enjoy being chosen. But underneath it all, there is something steady saying, I choose me too. That is the healing. Perhaps someone does not choose you. They choose someone else. They give the opportunity to someone else. They do not return the call. They do not see what you hoped they would see. You can feel disappointed. Fine. And then you can say, their choice does not change my worth. You do not have to turn rejection into a life story. Maybe it simply means, not here. Then you ask, what do I choose now? That keeps you moving. Perhaps you choose another opportunity. Perhaps you choose to create something for yourself. Perhaps you choose to spend time with people who enjoy your company. Perhaps you choose to improve a skill. Perhaps you choose rest. Perhaps you choose joy. There is always another choice available inside you. And this is why I want you to become your own loving companion. Not your own judge. Not your own critic. Your companion. When you wake up, say something kind. Good morning. We are going to have a good day. When something goes wrong, say, that's all right. We can try again. When you make a mistake, say, I am learning. When you feel uncertain, say, I am here with myself. When you do something well, say, good. I'm pleased with that. Very simple. You see, the inner voice does not need to give a lecture all day. It can simply become friendlier. And when the inner voice becomes friendlier, choosing yourself becomes easier because you are no longer choosing someone you secretly criticize all the time. You are building a relationship with yourself that feels warm. Perhaps each morning you can ask one question. What would be one loving choice for me today? Only one. Maybe the answer is eat breakfast instead of rushing. Maybe do not answer that message until I feel calm. Maybe wear the dress I love. Maybe spend 20 minutes on my dream. Maybe call a friend. Maybe take a nap. Maybe go outside. Maybe say what I really prefer. Do that one thing. Then at night, acknowledge it. I chose myself there. Good. You do not have to transform overnight. A little self-choice today, a little more tomorrow. And please allow some fun into this. Self-love does not have to be serious work all the time. What makes you smile? What makes you laugh? What did you enjoy when you were younger? Is there something silly you would like to try? Perhaps you want to sing badly in the kitchen. Fine. Sing. Perhaps you want to dance while making dinner. Dance. Perhaps you want bright socks. Wear them. Life can be lighter than we sometimes make it. It is safe for me to enjoy being myself. What a lovely thought. You do not have to improve yourself every minute. Sometimes you can simply enjoy yourself. And perhaps this is part of choosing yourself too. Allowing yourself to be a person you enjoy spending time with. You may discover that being alone is not always loneliness. Sometimes it is companionship with yourself. You can sit with your own thoughts, choose your own music, eat what you like, walk at your own pace. There can be great peace in that. Then when you enter relationships, you are not saying, "Please rescue me from myself." You are saying, "I already have a life, and I would love to share some of it with you. I am already a whole person, and I choose relationships that add to my life." Say that again gently. I am already a whole person, and I choose relationships that add to my life. There is nothing anti-love about this. In fact, it creates more room for love because you are not asking another person to fill every empty space. You have your interests. They have theirs. You have dreams. They have dreams. You come together and share, and you do not have to disappear. Perhaps today you begin noticing one old sentence. You are ready to change. Maybe it is, "I need to be chosen." Replace it with, "I choose myself." Maybe it is, "I need everyone to approve." Replace it with, "I approve of myself more and more." Maybe it is, "I must please everyone." Replace it with, "I can be loving and still be myself." Maybe it is, "My preferences do not matter." Replace it with, "My choices show me that I matter." Do not try to change 20 beliefs at once. Pick one. Repeat the new thought gently. Live it in one small way. That is how healing becomes real. A thought, a choice, a little experience, then another thought, another choice, another experience. After a while, something that once felt unfamiliar begins to feel natural. You begin saying, "Of course I ask myself what I want. Of course I make time for things I love. Of course I rest. Of course I have preferences. Of course I can be loved and still be myself." That is beautiful progress. So today, become curious rather than critical. Notice what you like. Notice what feels good. Notice where you would like more color, more quiet, more creativity, more rest, more laughter. Then choose one little thing. It is safe for me to discover what I like. I am already a whole person, and I choose relationships that add to my life. My life is allowed to look like me. My choices show me that I matter. I choose myself with love, not against anyone, not to prove anything, but simply because you are here and your life includes you. I want to share something with you that can bring a very gentle kind of freedom. Not every door that closes is a rejection of you. Sometimes a door simply does not open because that direction is not continuing, and that is all. Yet we can make it mean so much more. We say, "They did not choose me, so perhaps I am not good enough." Or, "This opportunity did not happen, so perhaps I have missed my chance." Or, "This relationship did not continue, so perhaps love is not for me." Well, one door is not all of life. One person is not all of love. One job is not all of possibility. One answer is not your entire future. You do not have to force one place to choose you in order to prove that you are worthy. You do not have to stand outside the same door forever, knocking harder and harder, hoping that if it finally opens, you will feel valuable. Perhaps you can simply say, "All right, this door did not open. Let me see what else life has for me." That is not giving up. It is opening. I trust life to lead me toward what can truly meet me. Let that thought become soft inside you. You do not need to know where the next door is yet. You do not need to see the whole path. Perhaps all you need is the willingness to stop calling one closed door the end of the story. Sometimes life redirects you through another person, another job, another place, another timing, or simply another way of living that fits you better than the one you were trying so hard to hold on to. You see, when you believe only one outcome can make you happy, you make life very small, but life is not small. There are possibilities you cannot see from where you are standing today. So perhaps instead of saying, "Why didn't they choose me?" you can say, "What is available to me now?" That question has movement in it. It lets you breathe again. Perhaps you have been trying to keep every door open because you are afraid that closing one means losing your chance. You keep old relationships half alive, old opportunities half open, old possibilities sitting in the background just in case. Well, that can become very tiring. You do not need every door. You need the ones that truly meet you. Some things are complete. Some things are not yours. Some things belong to an old version of your life. Fine. You can bless them and let them go. You can say, "I release what does not continue, and I remain open to what does." This is a much more peaceful way to move. You are not chasing life. You are walking with it. If one person cannot meet you, that does not mean no one can. If one company does not see your value, that does not mean your value disappeared. If one path becomes blocked, perhaps another path begins a little to the left or a little to the right. You may not notice it while you are still staring at the closed door. So turn around. Look around. There may be something else beginning. And please do not make yourself wrong because you wanted something that did not continue. Wanting was not a mistake. Loving was not a mistake. Trying was not a mistake. You simply received information. Now you can choose again. I trust life to lead me toward what can truly meet me. Perhaps what truly meets you will not require so much begging, proving, chasing, or shrinking. Perhaps it will feel more mutual, more natural, more spacious. You do not have to know today. Just stay open. And one beautiful way to hear yourself again is through creativity. I think this is very important because so much of life can become performance. We do things because we think they should look good, sound good, be useful, be productive, or be approved. We ask, will anyone like this? Before we even ask, do I enjoy this? So perhaps creativity becomes a little private room where you do not have to perform. Write, draw, sing, dance, cook, sew, make something with your hands, plant herbs, paint a little box, rearrange some flowers, make a collage from old magazines, hum while you wash the dishes. None of it has to be impressive. None of it has to become a business. None of it has to be shared. I give my inner world permission to express itself. Perhaps you have not drawn since you were a child. Fine. Take a pencil and make a few lines. Perhaps you think you cannot sing. Sing in the kitchen. Perhaps you want to write but do not know what to write. Write one page about your morning. You see, the point is not the result. The point is hearing what comes from you when nobody is grading it. This can be so healing because creativity takes you out of constant approval seeking and brings you back into contact with your own preferences. You choose the color you like. You choose the song you want. You choose the words that feel true. Maybe you discover that you love bright colors. Maybe you discover you prefer quiet music. Maybe you discover you enjoy making things slowly with your hand. These discoveries are simple, but they matter. They help you remember that there is a person inside you with tastes, ideas, moods, humor, imagination, and a voice of her own. I give my inner world permission to express itself. Perhaps say that before you begin. Then let the thing be imperfect. This is important. If you draw and immediately say, "This is terrible," you have brought the critic into the room. So laugh a little. Say, "Fine. It does not have to be good." What a wonderful sentence. It does not have to be good. Sometimes that is exactly what creativity needs. It only has to be yours. Perhaps you dance badly for 5 minutes. Wonderful. Perhaps you write a page nobody else would understand. Fine. Perhaps you make a cake that leans to one side. Eat it anyway. Self-expression does not always need polish. Sometimes it simply needs permission. And as you express yourself more, you begin to hear your own voice more clearly, not because you sit for hours analyzing who you are, but because you notice what naturally comes through. You notice what you enjoy. You notice what makes you feel alive. You notice what you want more of. You notice what feels like you. That is enough. You do not need to define yourself perfectly. You can simply become friendlier with yourself. Perhaps you say, "Oh, I like this. good. Do more of it. This makes me feel light. Good. Make room for it. I would love to learn this. Wonderful. Begin. Your own voice becomes easier to hear when you give it somewhere to speak. And then something else changes. You become less tempted to constantly copy the people around you. You can appreciate what they do without needing to become them. You can say, "That is lovely for her. This is lovely for me." What a peaceful place to live. Now I want to talk about empathy, because choosing yourself does not mean becoming hard or uncaring. You can have a very open heart and still honor yourself. You can understand another person's feelings without agreeing with everything they want. You can see that they are disappointed, tired, afraid, or upset, and still keep your own truth. I can care for you and still honor myself. This is such an important thought. Maybe someone wants your time, but you need rest. You can care that they are disappointed and still say, "I cannot today." Maybe someone wants you to make a choice that suits them, but it does not suit you. You can understand their point of view and still choose differently. Maybe someone is having a difficult time and you want to help, but you also know you cannot carry everything for them. You can say, "I love you, I am here, and this is what I am able to give." That is enough. You see, empathy works both ways. Their feelings matter. Yours matter too. Their needs matter. Yours matter too. Their experience is real. Yours is real too. You do not have to erase yourself in order to prove that you are compassionate. A loving heart does not have to say yes to everything. Sometimes love says yes. Sometimes love says no. Sometimes love says, "I understand, but I cannot do that." Sometimes love says, "I care about you, and I also need to care for myself. I can care for you and still honor myself." Let this become very ordinary. It does not have to be a big dramatic statement. Perhaps you simply stop answering every request immediately. You pause and ask, "Do I have the energy for this?" That pause is self-respect. Perhaps someone tells you what they want, and you ask yourself, "What do I want?" That is self-respect too. You are not making their needs less important. You are finally including yourself in the conversation. And if someone becomes disappointed when you choose yourself, do not immediately assume you have done something wrong. People are allowed to have feelings about your choices. Fine. You do not have to fix every feeling. Perhaps they wanted you to say yes. You said no. They are disappointed. That feeling may pass. You can remain kind without changing yourself back. You can say, "I understand." Sometimes that is enough. You do not need to give a 20-minute explanation for every preference. You do not need to make yourself smaller so that nobody ever feels uncomfortable. You can be kind and still be clear. This is a very healing balance, and when you practice it, relationships often become more honest. People begin to know what you truly want. instead of constantly guessing because you always say anything is fine. They learn where you stand. You learn where you stand. There is more reality in the relationship, and reality is a much better place for love to grow than performance. Now let us make choosing yourself very simple. I want to give you a small daily practice. In the morning, before the day becomes noisy, ask yourself, what would choosing myself look like today? Do not ask for 10 things. One is enough. Maybe the answer is, I need to have breakfast before I start working. Fine. Maybe I need a little quiet before I answer messages. Maybe I want to wear the dress I love. Maybe I want to spend 20 minutes on my own project. Maybe I need to say no to something I do not have room for. Maybe I want to call a friend who makes me laugh. Whatever comes, keep it simple. Then during the day, do one real thing that agrees with the answer. This is how choosing yourself moves from an idea into a way of living. You are not waiting for some grand moment where everything changes. You are making one loving choice. Perhaps your choice is rest, then rest. Perhaps your choice is action, then take the action. Perhaps your choice is to stop waiting for someone to call. Put the phone down and go enjoy the afternoon. Perhaps your choice is to begin something creative. Open the notebook. Perhaps your choice is to speak honestly. Say one honest sentence. You see, choosing yourself does not always mean doing what is easiest. Sometimes choosing yourself means doing what you know is good for you, even when it requires courage. It may mean making the appointment you have been avoiding. It may mean finishing something important. It may mean getting up and going for the walk. Self-love is not always softness. Sometimes it is lovingly saying, "Come on, we are going to do this because it matters to us." Then in the evening, ask, where did I honor myself today? Again, do not turn this into an examination. We do not need another place to fail. Simply notice, I told the truth. Good. I rested when I needed to. Good. I did not chase someone who was unavailable. Good. I made time for something I enjoy. Good. I changed my mind because something did not feel right. Good. I returned to something important after getting distracted. Good. Let yourself register these little moments. They matter. Every one of them says, I am learning to stay with myself. If you did not honor yourself very much today, fine. Do not begin criticizing. Say, all right, tomorrow I will practice again. That is how change happens. A little practice, a little repetition. You do not have to become perfect at choosing yourself. You only have to become more willing. I am willing to choose myself more lovingly each day. Perhaps this is the gentlest affirmation of all. You do not need to prove that you have mastered self-love. You are learning, and the more you practice, the less you need the outside world to constantly reassure you. You still enjoy love. You still enjoy praise. You still enjoy being invited, chosen, included, appreciated, wonderful. Receive all of it, but you no longer depend on it for every feeling of worth. If someone chooses you, lovely. If someone does not, you remain yourself. If one opportunity comes, wonderful. If another does not, you keep moving. If one person sees your value, lovely. If another person does not, your value has not changed. This creates so much freedom because you are no longer handing your entire emotional life to the decisions of other people. Perhaps you begin entering situations differently. You meet someone new, and instead of immediately thinking, "Do they like me?" you also ask, "Do I enjoy being with them?" You enter a job interview, and instead of only thinking, "Will they hire me?" you also notice, "Would I like working here?" You receive an invitation, and instead of automatically saying yes because you feel included, you ask, "Do I actually want to go?" This is choosing yourself. It is not rejecting the world. It is meeting the world as a participant rather than as someone constantly applying for approval. And this is where trusting life and choosing yourself begin working together. You do not have to cling to every door because you trust that life is larger than one door. You do not have to perform constantly because you are learning to enjoy your own voice. You do not have to abandon yourself in order to be empathic because you know love can include you too. You begin living from a quieter center. I trust life to lead me toward what can truly meet me. I give my inner world permission to express itself. I can care for others and still honor myself. These thoughts are not about becoming isolated. They are about becoming more present inside your own life. Perhaps one of the greatest changes is that you stop asking the world for permission to begin. You do not need someone to say, "Yes, you are creative enough. Create." You do not need someone to say, "Yes, you are allowed to rest. Rest." You do not need someone to say, "Yes, your preference makes sense. Have the preference." You do not need someone to say, "Yes, your dream is realistic." Begin learning what the dream requires. You see, there is so much life available once you stop waiting for approval at every step. And if fear says, "But what if I choose myself and someone leaves?" perhaps answer gently, "Then I will still be here." That is enough. You are not promising that no relationship will ever change. You are reminding yourself that you will remain your own companion. If someone leaves, you can grieve and still stay with yourself. If something changes, you can adapt. If a door closes, you can look for another. You do not disappear simply because someone else changes direction. I stay with myself through change. That is a very comforting thought. Perhaps fear says, what if choosing myself disappoints someone? Well, sometimes it will. You cannot build a life where nobody is ever disappointed, but you can build one where you are kind, honest, and respectful. That is enough. You do not need universal agreement. You only need to stop making universal agreement the price of being yourself. And perhaps fear says, what if I do not know what I want? Fine. Start very small. What would feel good today? Tea or coffee? Quiet or music? A walk or a bath? Reading or television? Company or an hour alone? Begin there. Your own voice becomes clearer through use. You do not need to discover your entire identity in one afternoon. You simply need to stop ignoring every little preference that appears. This is why creativity is so useful again. It lets you practice choosing without consequence. Which color, whichever one you like. Which song? The one you enjoy. What do you want to write? Whatever comes. There is no committee, no vote, no approval process, just you. That can be very restorative when you have spent years looking outward before making every choice. Perhaps one evening you take out a notebook and write at the top, things I like. Then make a list. Not goals, not improvements. Things you like. Fresh sheets, hot tea, the smell of rain, old movies, blue shirts, long walks, books, quiet restaurants, flowers, loud music in the car. Whatever is true for you. This is not a serious exercise. It is a way of remembering yourself. Then perhaps make another list. Things I would like to try. Painting, a dance class, learning a language, cooking something new, going somewhere alone. You see how quickly life begins to feel larger when you stop waiting for another person to create all the experiences for you. And if someone comes along who wants to share them, wonderful, let them. But you do not have to postpone your whole life until companionship appears. You can begin living now. That is one of the deepest forms of choosing yourself. So perhaps today, instead of asking, who is going to choose me? Ask, where can I choose my own life more fully? Maybe in love, maybe in work, maybe in creativity, maybe in the way you spend Sunday morning, maybe in the way you speak to yourself. Do not make it enormous. One place is enough. And perhaps there is one area where you are still waiting for permission. You want to begin something, but you are waiting for someone to say it is a good idea. You want to leave something, but you are waiting for everyone to understand. You want to rest, but you are waiting for all the work to disappear. You want to be more yourself, but you are waiting for the people around you to become comfortable with it. Perhaps today you stop waiting just a little. Ask yourself the reflection question gently. Is there an area of my life where I am still waiting for someone else to give me permission, choose me, or recognize me. Do not analyze the answer for an hour, just notice. Then ask, what is one loving choice I can make here? That is enough. Maybe you send the application. Maybe you begin the project. Maybe you stop calling. Maybe you sign up for the class. Maybe you rest. Maybe you say what you really prefer. Maybe you walk away from one closed door. Maybe you open a notebook and create something for yourself. Whatever it is, let the action say, I am here too. And if you are ready to make that shift, write in the comments, I choose me. Let it be simple. Let it be loving. You are not choosing yourself against anyone. You are not pushing people away. You are simply refusing to disappear while you wait for someone else to decide your value. Then let these words stay with you. I choose myself with love. I honor my voice, my energy, my preferences, and my path. I stop waiting for the world to tell me that I matter. I already know that I do. And if I already know feels too strong today, soften it. Say, I am willing to know that I matter. That is enough. You do not have to leap into perfect self-love. You can become willing to listen, willing to rest, willing to receive, willing to choose, willing to stop chasing one closed door, willing to let life surprise you with another path. All is well. Perhaps tomorrow you wake up and ask again, what would choosing myself look like today? Then live one answer. At night ask, where did I honor myself today? Notice one moment. Smile at it. Say, good, I am learning. Then rest. This is how a new relationship with yourself is built. Not through one dramatic declaration, but through ordinary loving choices repeated again and again. You begin to trust that a closed door does not mean life has rejected you. You begin to hear your own voice through creativity. You learn that empathy can include you. You stop demanding that every person approve before you move. And little by little, being chosen by the world becomes something lovely when it happens, but no longer something you need in order to feel real. You are already here. Your life is already happening. Your voice is already within you. Your path is allowed to unfold. You can choose the next step without seeing the whole road. You can care for others and still care for yourself. You can welcome love without begging for it. You can receive opportunities without making them the measure of your worth. And you can let one closed door close while trusting that life still contains more. So today, choose yourself in one gentle way. Not perfectly, not forever, just today. I trust life to lead me toward what can truly meet me. I give my inner world permission to express itself. I can care for you and still honor myself. I choose myself with love. Let these words become a way of living, one ordinary choice at a time.